Hello everyone. Now we are going to learn about developing ethical and sustainable sourcing strategies. Welcome to this topic on developing ethical and sustainable sourcing strategies. In these lessons, we will explore how organizations integrate ethics, sustainability, and supplier collaborations into their sourcing decisions. Well, students must be clear that ethical sourcing ensures products are obtained in a responsible and fair manner. Sustainable sourcing focuses on minimizing environmental and social impact throughout the supply chain. Together, they promote transparency, accountability, and long-term supplier relationships. This is an example of non-ethical sourcing situations. The first one, using suppliers involved in child labor. Second, ignoring environmental pollutions. Third, corruptions and bribery in supplier selections. A procurement officer receives gift and personal benefit from a supplier to secure a long-term supply contract. The supplier is chosen not for quality or reliability, but because of personal connections and bribery. Number 4. Unsafe working conditions in factories. A company sources electronics from a manufacturer where workers face unsafe conditions, long hours, and poor ventilations. In one incident, several workers suffer injuries, but the supplier hides the reports to maintain business relationship. Number 5. Paying unfair wages. A seafood processing company sources shrimp from a supplier that pays below minimum wage and withholds workers' passport, preventing them from leaving the job. Well, class, now let's get you to understand what is meant by sustainable sourcing. So there is a condition under not sustainable sourcing. Not sustainable sourcing occurs when a company's procurement practices harm the environment, exploit workers, or fail to support long-term economic and social well-being. First example is environmental damage. Over exploitations of natural resources, excessive carbon emissions, and improper waste disposal. So this is an example for environmental damage under non-sustainable. Example, palm oil suppliers clearing rainforests through burning, leading to loss of biodiversity. Second, exploitations of labor, paying workers below living wage, unsafe or unhealthy working conditions, use of force, bonded or child labor. Example, migrant workers in seafood industries having their passport withheld. Third, ignoring local communities, such as displacing local residents without fair compensations. Second, causing social conflict due to a lack of stakeholder engagement. Example, mining projects that relocate indigenous populations without consultations. Number 4, lack of supplier accountability, which is mean no monitoring or auditing of supplier sustainability performance, and the company ignore environmental or social violations by suppliers. Example, brands that continue working with a non-compliant supplier for cost advantages. Number 5, over-reliance on non-renewable resources. such as using materials that cannot be replenished and failure to adopt circular economic practices. Example, electronics companies using single-use plastics with no recycling plan. Number 6, poor transparency and reporting, which is mean hiding sourcing locations or supplier informations. There is no disclosure of sustainability metrics or audit result. Example, companies that claim to be green but provide no evidence. So now class, let's make it clear why ethical and sustainable sourcing matters. The first one is because brand reputations, which is mean it enhances customer trust and loyalty through ethical practices. Second, compliance. Ensure adherence to global labor and environmental standards. Third, risk reductions, which is mean minimizes operational risks associated with unethical suppliers. And fourth, shared value, which is mean creates mutual benefit for businesses and communities. Steps in building an ethical and sustainable sourcing strategy. Now, you must remember the goal is to create a balance between profitability, ethics, and sustainability. So class, for ethical and sustainable sourcing strategies, it involves 6 steps that you must remember. The first one is establishments of policies, which is mean develop clear guidelines for ethical sourcing. Number 2, supplier screening, which is mean evaluate suppliers based on ethical criteria. Third, monitoring and auditing, which is means ensure compliance through regular checks. Number 4, collaborations and capacity building, which is mean work with supplier to improve practices. Number 5, balance cost and responsibility, which is mean find cost effective ethical solutions. And the last step is stakeholder engagement, which is means communicate transparently with stakeholders. Now class, let's make it clear. The first step is establish clear policies and codes of conduct. It means develop formal supplier codes of conduct that set clear expectations for fair labor practices, which is no child forced labor, and safe and healthy working conditions, fair wages and respect for human rights, and environmental responsibility. So, all these things, it requires suppliers to sign and comply with these codes. So now, step number 2, it is about supplier screening and selections, which is this thing is go beyond price and quality, where the company must assess suppliers based on ethical and environmental performance. They also must evaluate supplier certifications in terms of their ISO and also fair trade certifications to ensure fair pay and sustainable productions. Example, coffee retailers buy only from fair trade certified farms to ensure farmers are paid fairly and environmental standards are met. Step 3, monitoring and auditing, which is the company must conduct a regular supplier audits and performance reviews to ensure compliance. And the company must use third-party audits for independent evaluations. And also, the company must apply technology tools such as blockchains for supply chains traceability to track raw materials like cottons, palm oil, or minerals to their ethical source. Example, companies such as Walmart and Nestle use blockchain system to trace food ingredients back to farms to ensure transparency and safety. Step number 4, collaborations and capacity building, which is the company must work with suppliers instead of just policing them. And also the company must provide training, workshops, and technical support to help suppliers improve in terms of waste management and energy efficiency and compliance with the labor standards, innovation and process improvement. Example, Toyota sends engineers to suppliers' factories to help improve processes and quality rather than simply replacing them. Step number 5, balancing cost with responsibility, which is mean the company must recognize that sustainable sourcing may cost more initially, and cheap sourcing often leads to hidden costs such as poor quality, reputational damage, or legal risks. And long-term benefit of ethical sourcing includes better product quality, it could be reduced waste and stronger brand image and customer loyalty. Example, Patagonia invests in ethical suppliers even at higher costs, and the result is they gained long-term trust and customer loyalty. And the last step is step 6, stakeholder engagement and transparency, which is the company communicate openly about sourcing practices and sustainability efforts and engage stakeholders such as customers, governments, NGOs, and investors. And also, the company publish annual sustainability or CSR report to show progress. Example, Unilever Sustainable Living Plan reports how it collaborates with suppliers to achieve social and environmental goals. Did you learn something from this? As we learned, developing ethical and sustainable sourcing strategies goes beyond choosing the cheapest or fastest suppliers. It is about building a responsible supply chains, one that respects people, respect and protect the planet, and ensure the long-term business success. By setting clear policies, selecting the right partners, monitoring performance, supporting supplier developments, and being transparent, companies can make a real difference in global supply chains. Remember, ethical sourcing is not just good for reputation, but it is good for resilience, innovations, and trust along the supply chain.